Hello, Reese from the Point Music Podcast thingy, back with another fresh episode. This time around, we've got Unbroken Expanse, flat out, just great rock band with just a little elements of punk and thrash coming through here. We spoke to Wheezy and Jimmy about their new single, This Feeling, and also just about being the most random band on the planet, having to sort of cut their teeth in Tennant Creek. And they're now based in Melbourne, but holy crap, stories. So yeah, sit down, buckle in, that's what I should be saying, and enjoy this chat with Wheezy and Jimmy from Unbroken Expanse.
Yeah, man.
He's got the full one. Everyone, this is Unbroken Expanse, and we're just looking at Jimmy's lighting sort of stuff in the background because it's kind of cool with the lightning sort of things. We got Jimmy and Wheezy, and yeah, just so you know, this isn't live, guys. So you can just, if you want to, if you're worried about fucking around, it's yeah. Firstly, well done on This Feeling, the cracker of a fucking track.
Woo! Appreciate that, man. Thank you, Reese. Yeah, we had fun making it. That's for sure. Yeah, what's that? Sorry,
I said it to complete face melt of that one.
Yeah, we definitely had fun making it. That's for sure.
Well, let's get into
Stu Marshall put us to the grind, you know. So that was good to be pushed a little bit more, and get all the stuff out that he could get from us, and add his own little flavor. So yeah, you can definitely between us, like our skin and bones of it, and his like sort of arranging skills. We're very happy with it.
Yeah, it was because I first heard you guys through Bootstrap Billy, and that blew me away. And then you had Wipeout was the next one.
Yeah. Yes, we did. Yeah, that was a cracker. That was fun. That was another one that was fun to record. Definitely.
So this is only 3 from you guys. How long have you guys been around?
Look, since officially since 2008, really.
Okay, it's a long time.
We've sort of only been making like original moves and tunes since like 2010. Like that was when we put out like this kind of demo album that was that had 10 or 11 of our original songs, and some of which we still use in our set today, some of which we've sort of decided that they don't really represent us as much anymore. You know, we've pushed forward and are definitely going with a newer sound, especially in the last 2 or 3 years for sure.
Well, that's 15 years. That's a fucking stretch. I mean,
we've been there.
Yeah,
we've been traveling. We don't want to. You can't rush art. Obviously, Mona Lisa. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, since 2008 and 2010, still in Tennant Creek, we did as much as we could up there. Like Wheezy said, the demo, and then you travel up and down 1,000 k's, to Darwin and play some shows and stuff like that.
So okay.
Then after that, we did have an EP, and then 2016 that's when we moved to Melbourne, and kind of.
So
we won't count the 2 years that the COVID.
Yeah, well, we don't
blur.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so, yeah, no musos talk about that.
Yeah. we did have Go before Bootstrap. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Tennant Creek thing, because this is the whole interesting deal about you guys. Apart from like, I love the whole like Oz pub rock meets thrash meets punk kind of thing that you're doing that no one really, apart from the older guys, are doing anymore. But the whole Tennant Creek thing in the middle of fucking nowhere. How the hell did 4 musos meet up, and how are 4 musos sort of randomly meeting at this place in between Alice Springs and Darwin? It's just sort of it boggles the mind.
Bit of a culmination, really. I mean, I think Jimmy could probably feel this one. He was there at the very beginning. All right, buddy, hang on. We don't want to call.
I'm the most foreign one here.
What?
But yeah, okay.
But you were there at the start. You were there at the
Okay,
start. Hey.
I came to Australia in 2004, and I was working cattle station
Yeah.
for almost 2 years, and then I moved to
I'll find it.
Tennant Creek, and then I was doing things, and I always wanted to play music, and I met a guy taught me a guitar,
Yeah.
and I basically always wanted to start a band, and then so met these guys through a lawn bowls event, and then we just become friends after that, and then so Wheezy and his high school friends played in a battle of the band thing. I was like, oh, these guys, they are musicians or potential musicians in town. So me and Jason, we hung out.
Rare breed, but we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I approached Jason. I was like, Jason, I want to, start something. Let's buy a drum kit. And we bought a drum kit from a furniture store, which Wheezy happened to be the one that assembled it a day before.
That's why I was so badly out of tune.
It would make for a more interesting sound when it's out of tune. That just becomes your sort of tell, I guess. I don't know. It just seems like the most random of places. And where the hell do you play? Apart from like you're just saying, like you're traveling the 1,000 k's up to Darwin, but is there like pubs that you can play in, like one pub?
There's venues in town that are like there's actually quite a few watering holes and the like there's probably about like 4 or 5 venues that have like dedicated stages and like a setup for gigging. And then there's a few more which you can just kind of randomly set up a space, and have a PA and everything. But yeah, it was majority of it was like going up to Darwin, going down to Alice Springs, buddy, and gigging that way. That was anywhere we could. Really. Yeah, I know, buddy.
I can imagine imagine getting pretty loose at those sort of events, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, buddy. What have you done?
Yeah. Memorial Club was the main place that we played in Tennant Creek. We just do mix between originals and covers, and we would get paid from that, and then that helped us fund our trips and stuff.
So, would you get any touring acts coming through there at all? It's kind of a random place for that to happen too.
Very little, very few.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Trying to remember.
So I'm guessing it's all country and that sort of stuff out there mainly, wouldn't it? Or blues.
We'd get some decent like tribute acts, and we'd get like a few sort of like how do I say this, slightly off kilter, just smaller acts that were just trying to play anywhere where they'd get an offer. You could always tell that was them having a crack, and it was really good to see. Majority of the time us, at least 1 or 2 representatives of our band would get down and see these acts, just because there is so little to do, entertainment wise and musically, trying to catch an act. So when someone comes through town, being a muso, you're like, all right, we got to go and support them, or at least just rock up and watch. Do the best that we can to make them feel welcome. And so there's more than just like 3 people and the bouncer or whatever.
Which we have done.
Well, I think every fucking musician's actually done that, to be honest with you. Not alone there.
Truth.
Yeah, it's just
truth.
Yeah, like, trust me. I've played to like the sound engineer before, and that's basically it. And it's
very humbling. It's very humbling.
You just go, it's just a rehearsal, whatever. Okay.
Get matched.
I'm just doing this for myself.
Well, that's when you can experiment and do some other weird shit. Like, okay, let's go into our Baroque period right now.
True that. Let's go 7/8, even though we've never played before. Let's go 7/8.
It's Virgin to prog. Let's do it. So how explain the process of this feeling coming together? Because is this an older song? Has this song been around in the repertoire for a bit, or is this like a new one that was pieced together?
I think that one's been around basically since we moved to Melbourne. I'd sort of started mucking around with like just the opening riff because it sounded cool, and then it took just kept it on the back burner for a couple of years just to experiment with One Day, and then I got like a bit of a bridge together and then a bit of a chorus together, some lyrics and then eventually it turned into what it is now, which is great. The production. I speak for all of us when I say we're really happy with it. And like I said, Stuart Marshall at Marshall Street Studios, Stuart Watt, sorry, at Marshall Street Studios did a really great job. And we were just happy to get some good guidance from him and stick to our guns with the songwriting process. So it turned out really happy with it. And in terms of like lyrical meaning and themes, it's all to do with if this world is a simulation, if this whole thing that we're experiencing is a simulation, then I saw like a theory about it where the people or the players, the roles that people are in, if they're not living like their most like full potential and exciting, passionate lives, they're kind of the ones that get axed first. So it's almost like the song is all about like find your purpose, find your passion. And in fact, we are the main attraction. And if we're being watched through our own, for however you want to put it, if we're being simulated, watched, if we're characters in a giant game or whatever, then we are in fact the main attraction. We're the ones, we're here on this earth to make it all happen, and that's what it's all about.
I was just about to reach for a tinfoil hat, but then you brought it back.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I've never really written much along those lines about those kinds of themes before. So it was interesting just to, because there's this French theory, this like essay called simulacrum and simulation. It's French, and that's just, I know, man. I haven't read it in a while, but that's what's all behind it is just like if you want to make an impact in this world, then you got to do it. You know what I mean? Go for your dreams. Go for what really lights a fire underneath your ass, and like the things that you like to do, get amongst it and just do it now, do it yesterday, because otherwise what's the point?
Plus we got a face melting solo from Jimmy gets to let loose in this.
That's right, that was really this. The solo was written first, and I just had to shave something around it.
But thank you, Jimmy, for bringing. You hardly hear like decent guitar solos these days. Like it's just all about everything else. And I kind of like I'm in my mid-40s, and I grew up in the 90s with that kind of stuff. Like the first thing I thought of when I even with Bootstrap Billy, but more so with this feeling, was Screaming Jets, but with some like thrash and punk elements just chucked in there. I'm talking like better era Screaming Jets and that kind of stuff. So like when they were in that like that prime. I mean, I like older the newer area that they did too, but like it has that certain, you can smell the bourbon and beer and the carpet and the cigarette smoke and that just from the vibe of the actual track, if that makes sense.
Definitely does, and that's cool to hear. That's what we've always been about, pub rock. Like since it's probably got a lot to do with growing up, in the venues and like those venues sort of bringing us up and us playing that to those crowds and those rooms, and that's probably really the biggest influence a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, we grew up with the Memorial Club jukebox, like full of actors and Metallica,
What do you want?
So okay, he's one of the greatest hits on the one on the jukebox.
Which one?
Okay.
What's that? Sorry, boy.
The Memo jukebox.
Oh, the Memo jukebox. There's some good stuff on there.
What was played the most, you reckon?
Yeah, just the greatest hits.
Thunderstruck.
Yeah, Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
A lot of Thunderstruck. Yeah, a lot of Akadaka. But yeah, probably some Screaming Jets there too. Bit of like maybe Motley Crue.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, kind of pretty well pub rock. Just straight out pub rock,
So you guys, you've toured all around Australia, right?
We just haven't been to Canberra or Tasmania yet.
Tasmania's actually like an interesting one. I went down there. I've been down there twice now. Not playing there, just visiting. But I did actually go see some live music there in the most obscure places too, like in sort of like a cove. It was down near Salamanca, which is in Hobart. And there was some art gallery thing, and there was this full fusion reggae jazz band playing, and it was amazing. Yeah, it just happened to stroll down there one night, but I know that they should actually they are screaming for live music to get down there. It's just a pain in the ass to get there in the first place. But I dare say it's not much harder than going to Tennant fucking Creek. When you think about
I mean, I'd be more than open to going to Tasmania. It just hasn't really been like a opportunity arise yet for us to warrant heading there. But I'd be stoked.
Well, it's closer for you now because you're both in Melbourne still now.
Much closer than Tennant.
Yeah. So that's an easier trip. Just get on the ferry and fucking do it.
Yeah.
So where
well, even from Tennant.
So that again, Jimmy?
Sorry, even from Tennant, we did shows. We went to Perth by driving to WA to do tour shows. 3 shows.
Yeah, we did. We went.
Fuck that.
We went to the Kimberley as well, like the Pilbara.
That would have been amazing.
That was pretty special. Yeah, buddy.
But I'm assuming that would have been like mining crew and that sort of stuff up there.
Yeah, Karratha, Port Hedland, and Newman.
That's right. They were the holy triumvirate.
And then we went into Perth after that, but we did it all with my Camry with a trailer. We just drove up to Catherine and went to Kimberley.
Put in some K's on that trip. Big
fucking
time.
Toyota tough with the Camry doing that, man. That's insane.
Oh yeah, man. The little blue trailer with our gear in it. Yeah, it was a fun trip.
I can't do that. Like I was in 4 bands. I'm in 3 bands now. And like I can't even rough it anymore. I can't sleep on bunks. I'm just over that whole aspect of it. But all right, so name me one random place, like the most random of places that you actually had to do a stopover in a gig at.
Probably Renner Springs, Jimmy. What do you think?
Renner Springs. Yeah.
Renner Springs.
All right,
yeah.
why?
It's only like 160 k's north of us, but we've had to do, and it's in a really interesting setting as well too. We've had to play their Christmas party like a few times, which involves playing to both shifts. So you play at 7 or 8 at night, and they obviously want a lot of covers.
Yeah.
But obviously we pepper out.
You're talking about the mine. That's the mine.
Yeah, Renner Springs. Oh, no, Boojoo Creek.
The Roadhouse.
Oh, Renner Springs is when we had the Harley owners group. Actually, that's more random. That's way more random.
It's more random.
Yeah, I choose that too. Yeah, Renner Springs is where we went and we met up. There was like these 3 factions of Harley's owner groups. There was like Darwin, Mount Isa, and Alice Springs.
Oh, no.
And all 3 of them had converged at this one sort of kind of central meeting place.
Yeah.
And it was just like this tiny road town, tiny stage. I think we had a pretty tiny PA as well, but they just loved it. They bloody loved it. They were taking my girlfriend at the time went out for like a cruise on the back of this Harley, and like they're just doing insane speeds down the main, the Stewart Highway, which is the
no
main
speed limit back then.
Yeah, that's right. And it was pretty full on, but it was cool. Like they loved it. So
yeah, that's the night I gave my first guitar away.
You gave your guitar away.
Yeah, it was a kid who just stood there and watched my set the whole night. And then he's like, oh, and he came up afterwards and was like, oh, can you ask questions? I was like, oh, you know what? How about you try this chord? Show him a C and show him a G.
Yeah.
And he was doing it. I was like, oh man, you played before? He was probably like 7. He's like, no, I never played before. So you know what? Have that one. Here, Jules, go have a keep going with it. You picked up 2 chords in 3 minutes. Man, you're better than me. Go.
Next minute, you realize he was actually hustling you, and he's actually got like a whole collection of guitars as a 7-year-old that goes.
It's not the first time he's done this.
Yeah,
he's done this before.
I reckon you got hustled there, Jimmy. He's got you with the heartstrings. He's just got, I just picked these up. He's some kind of like midget, little person virtuoso, basically. He's got a whole like stack of guitars.
Got a wall of like Ibanez and Gibson.
That's right. It was a $200 FX.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, it was my first guitar.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as it wasn't like a Strat or something like that, then it's okay. I'll be like, well, you're awfully generous.
Yeah.
But when Wheezy was just describing like the convergence of that in the middle of nowhere of all these like Harley riders and that come together, I don't know why, I just got this image of From Dusk Till Dawn in my head of this like hotel in the middle of nowhere where the vampires basically converge.
It's almost like that, eh? Because you just feel so isolated in certain places, like Tennant Creek enough, because it's just it's only 3,000 people in that town. So you often feel like it's its own like little microcosm. It's sort of representational of any other like outback town. But then you go to these tiny places that have like populations of like 8 people or something. And they're just roadhouses or small like communities around them, and it's pretty special. Like it's strange, but you're almost certain that there has been bugger all bands ever play there. So it's like you're sort of you're something for them,
I kind of understand that because I toured the UK with a band in like was it 2012, and we were like the UK is compact, right? It's you can squeeze in anywhere, but you're still traveling to these little villages, and you think that it's just a small community. And we were playing this pub, and basically I thought, this is going to be a dead gig, and everyone from around that area, this village just came out of nowhere, and they were like pole dancing and shit. It was just insane. We played for 3 hours, and they wanted to keep going for more, and it was like, no, this is nuts. So we just want to watch you guys now.
So the yearly band came through town, and that was when it was time.
I have a feeling they have a few more come through there, but I think it was one because there was an Australian band that came through, so it was a bit of a novelty, and they used to like some like Irish folk stuff or whatever, or singer-songwriter stuff. But they're actually it was a reggae funk dub band that went through there. So I have a feeling that was because it was something a bit different. That's when they let loose, because they were free pouring drinks on the bar and everything. It was loose. And these weren't young people too. These were like people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that were doing this shit.
That's good to see. That's really good. That's good to hear. Yeah, it's really good to hear.
Yeah. So I can imagine that's a similar sort of vibe that you guys are sort of, with
There's a various mixture of people that come to our shows, and we definitely have some on the more elderly end of the spectrum.
Why not?
Just like they just rock hard.
Yeah.
They just rock hard. There's no like feelings of like inhibition. Wait, there's Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, inhibition.
So there's less feelings of inhibition, you know what I mean? Because they just don't give two fucks anymore. They're just like, I'm here to dance, I'm here to make noise and laugh and have a good time. There's no being cool, too cool for school.
No,
That's
everyone's
what's
over
good.
that.
That's why we welcome, you know, any and all ages. You know, we love it.
So, are you guys all still spread out, or are you sort of based in Melbourne all together now?
We're based in
Well, we're all based in Melbourne for sure, or at least, you know, the surrounding suburbs or surrounding areas.
Yeah.
As of just recently, Parko, our bass player, has moved to South Australia
Okay.
to run his old man's, you know, rest his name. He still has a museum. It's a museum for cars and automobiles and like vintage bikes and stuff like that. And so he'll be sort of running operations for his record label, which is Blaine Street Records,
yeah.
which puts out pretty much puts out our last 3 or 4 releases now. Yeah, four releases, including This Feeling. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that he's gonna be doing that. He's you know. Sorry.
Does that make
Jim,
touring a little bit harder though?
No.
Well, I suppose we'll find out. Because we haven't done it this way before. I mean, we did at one stage have.
Look, yeah, it won't be hard. You know, the distance it's basically nothing to us. You know, we drive to Alice Springs for Macca's.
It's a very good point.
Yeah. Like Parker's in SA right now, but he will be here tomorrow to do, you know, to even practice and do shows.
Yeah.
Which is what we have coming up this Friday. Actually, he's flying in. We're jamming. Next day we're gigging, and he'll probably fly back on Sunday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and these days you can just turn on Zoom and during a jam session and
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I've been in bands before where like we have members in sort of like probably about 100 to 150 k's away from each other, and we all come together for practice. And yeah, I understand that feeling. I mean, yours is a little bit more extreme than that, but yeah, I do understand the logistics of it all. So, is that the only show are you touring this single?
Not as of yet.
Yeah.
Not as of yet. We've got this like birthday bash at a place that you may know called Whole Lot of Love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're playing that on Saturday, and then the very week after, on Saturday the 22nd of July, we've got our single launch for This Feeling at Cherry Bar.
Ah, yeah.
So
Cherry Bar, definitely done.
Yeah, exactly right. I think we've played three gigs now there since we've all moved here. You know, in the last few years specifically, like 2 or 3 years, they've wanted us and we've wanted to be there. So it's just been like a match made in heaven. So it's been good.
They're one of the last few bastions of true rock and roll in Melbourne. There, the Cherry Bar.
Dive man.
Yeah, I remember going down. My wife and I went down there on we had heard of it, but we just never experienced anything. We walked in there on a random night. I think it was like a Thursday night, and it was rock and roll karaoke, but it was all Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses covers, and just people all wearing double denim and mullets, and it was the most amazing sight.
The true believers.
Yeah. It was still kicking, and we just stayed there for like a good couple of hours, just people watching, and she's going, "We should get up." I'm like, "No, I just want to watch some shit." It was epic.
Witness the scene.
That was
the spectacle.
Yeah, but I'm gonna wrap this up because we're hitting that. Like we got the little warning thing up there from thanks to Zoom. And hitting the half-hour mark. I absolutely love This Feeling. It's an amazing song, so well done to that, guys. I do have to give you props. It's an incredible sort of fresh burst of pub rock, thrashy kind of stuff in there with face-melting solos, and we need more of it. So, yeah, well done.
We think so too, Reese, and that's really nice of you to say, mate. Appreciate that.
All good. Enjoy the launches and that. You guys hang on the line. I'll do a quick debrief while I've still got you. Everyone else, this has been Unbroken Expanse, and adios.
Peace.
Really hope you enjoyed that. Those guys are absolute legends, and do check out This Feeling because it's a great track, particularly if you sort of want to let your hair down and just bust out the air guitar solos because it's a sick track. More to come. Also, if you don't know where Tennant Creek is, just do a Google Earth of it, and you'll see what they dealt with and how amazing that is that they actually sort of managed to get a following and then just do what they do. I mean, obviously it's 15 years later, but holy crap. Anyway, as I say, there's more stuff coming, and I do have some pretty cool guests coming up, so stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you for supporting local music, live music, all sorts of music. You guys are legends. Cheers.